Let's talk about the threefold model and how do we use that to be more effective in our next actions and making decisions?
Yeah, this is a really important one for several reasons, and especially over the years we've seen that once people really catch this, it can make a big difference in terms of surfing on top of your world. There's three things we dance between all day long. Number one is doing work we've already defined to do. You know, I've defined, these are the action items I need to take, the projects I'm working on, and here's the phone calls I need to make, here's the stuff to do. So one thing to do would be something you've already defined to do. So let me take this action and go do that. Second thing would be unplanned work, things that are not on your calendar or not on your list. Could be you suddenly decide to take a nap. It could be somebody walked in you didn't expect and then, you know, dump something on your lap. Could be anything that shows up out there that was unplanned or unseen, unforeseen. Good, bad, or indifferent, but it's not there, and you then have to make a choice between engaging with that and or going back to whatever's still on your list. The third thing you need to do, that's neither one of those, is actually take time to be defining what the work is that you need to do. In other words, processing your in-basket, dealing with the capture and clarify and organize things that we've talked about. And that takes most people at least an hour a day to deal with new incoming stuff, the time it takes to grab it, think it through, decide the action, decide what you're going to do with it, and to keep your in-basket and your backlog empty. That takes time to do. In other words, you need white space to manage and process and clarify your day as it's coming at you. As you know, meeting notes that you're taking, notes you're off the phone call, you know, all the stuff coming into your email, etc. So those are the three things that you dance between. What most people don't realize is that if they're not taking time to define their work, then their backlog is getting huge there. Then they get unplanned things showing up and they go, oh my gosh, that's unplanned, but look at all this other stuff that I might have to deal with. And then now that feels like an interruption as opposed to a new input that's a new opportunity to influence your world. So understanding, do you have white space on your calendar to keep yourself current and to keep your backlog at a minimum so that then when the unplanned things show up in your world, then you have the ability and mobility to be able to engage with that appropriately against all the other stuff and make better executive decisions about whether you can manage that or not. Also, being able to then say, wait a minute, this is still more important than this unplanned thing that showed up. I need to know, to trust that I have a placeholder for that so that I can then not have to then chase that rabbit because it ran into my room because I don't trust that I have a way to have a placeholder for it. Then you get mad at that thing for disturbing your life. So, you know, the surprises are legion out there. You know, they could be surprises from your kids, they could be surprises from your aging parents, they could be all kinds of things you didn't expect. That's why when I'm not doing anything else, I'm cleaning up my backlog to as close to zero as I can because there's a surprise coming toward me I can't see. And when that surprise hits, I want that backlog to be as absolutely minimal as possible so that I can engage with it, you know, with my mind like water, essentially, and not over or underreact to it and know how to engage with it. So understanding the distinction between those things. Sometimes I have whole days I don't get to anything on any of my lists because the phone rang or an email showed up, and all of those were then more important than anything else I had determined to do given all those other factors. And that's quite appropriate.